Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today's mission, well, it's definitely one of the more unusual ones we've tackled. We're looking at sources that mix some really advanced air purification tech specs with, well, claims of divine revelation, longer life, and frankly, huge amounts of money. We're talking $30 billion.
Right, and that contrast is really the heart of it, isn't it? We've got this device, the Air 6-free maze purifier, presented almost like a piece of sacred technology, part of a bigger plan from someone called the Master, Fuchi Wu.
So our job today is to look at both sides. The engineering, what does this purifier actually claim to do? And this other narrative, these four miracles, that supposedly explain where it came from.
Exactly. We need to understand the tech, how they define purest air, but also how that fits into the Master's story about divine blueprints and these massive financial claims. It's quite a mix.
Let's get right into it then. What's the fundamental problem this device supposedly solves?
Well, the sources put it pretty starkly. They basically say that right now, we are the filters. Humans, our lungs, our bodies, constantly cleaning polluted air. And that, they argue, is what causes us to break down biologically.
We're living filters. Okay,
Yeah.
So the device is meant to, what, take over that job? Return the duty of air cleaning to machines, I think was the phrase?
Precisely. It's not just about slightly cleaner air. It's framed as shifting a really fundamental biological load off us. And the target they're aiming for is the 6-free standard, spelled out as Susokyu in the source.
6-free. What does that cover?
It means the air coming out is dust-free, germ-free, toxin-free, smoke-free, odor-free, and heavy metal-free. You see, it's very specific, goes way beyond just, typical air quality stuff.
Toxin-free and heavy metal-free sound particularly ambitious.
Oh, absolutely. The real focus is on nailing those ultra-fine toxic bits, particulates, and aerosols, the stuff that builds up in the body over years and really causes damage.
And that build-up idea, the accumulation, that connects to the really huge claim they make, doesn't it?
It does. The source flat out says that achieving this 6-free air makes the device more than a filter. It's, and this is the direct quote, the one true key to unlocking humanity's lifespan shackles.
Wow. So they're basically saying environmental toxins are the main reason we don't live longer, and this machine fixes that.
That's the core assertion. Get rid of that constant toxic load, stop being a living filter, and you fundamentally change the aging process. You break free from hitting what they call the toxin saturation point.
Okay, if the goal is extending lifespan, the tech needs to be pretty extraordinary. So this 5-step purification blueprint, they claim it's the only thing that can reliably catch toxins smaller than PM 0.1.
Right. And let's just pause on that PM 0.1 for a second, because it's important. We hear about PM 2.5 a lot, right? That's particulate matter, 2.5 micrometers wide, already tiny, like a 30th of a human hair. PM 0.1 is 25 times smaller than that. We're talking nano-level stuff. Heavy metals, chemical fumes, tiny combustion particles, stuff that goes straight through your lungs into your blood, your organs.
So if you're not catching that, you haven't really solved the problem.
Exactly. That's their point. So how does this blueprint claim to do it? Step 1 is sort of the initial sweep. An ionization zone plus dual electrostatic pre-filters.
Okay, what does that grab?
The bigger things, relatively speaking. Dust, pollen, bits of plastic, VOCs, volatile organic compounds. Those gases from paints, cleaners, furniture. That's a big part of being toxin-free.
Right, got it. Then step 2, secondary ionization. You said this is where the real prep work happens.
Yeah, it does a couple of things. It zaps any leftover germs, breaks down some chemical toxins maybe missed earlier. But the crucial part, it gives every single particle left, no matter how small, a negative electrical charge.
Like static electricity.
Kind of, yeah. Think of it as tagging every bit of remaining poison with a charge so it's guaranteed to stick somewhere later on.
Okay, so that charging sets up step 3. The sacrificial black box, that's quite a name. Officially the electrostatic collection maze box.
It is, and this is where they claim it really outperforms typical filters, like HEPA filters. You see, HEPA filters physically trap particles by size, right? But the tiniest stuff, the PM 0.1, can often just slip through the gaps.
Makes sense.
This system uses physics instead. Because all those tiny toxins are now negatively charged from step 2, they get pulled like magnets onto positively charged plates inside this maze box.
And the source says they're solidly plated and irreversibly fixed. Like, they're not just caught, they're neutralized and stuck there for good.
That's the idea. They're chemically and physically locked onto these plates. Aerosols apparently lose their water and the toxic gunk just plates onto the metal. It's sacrificial because the box takes the hit.
The substitute black box takes the toxins instead of,
Right.
well, instead of you.
Precisely. The toxic load ends up in the machine, not your body. Then there's one more filtration step, step 4, the maze effect itself.
Right. The name of the device. What does the maze do?
It forces the air through lots of sharp, complex turns, like a backup system. Even if a few nanotoxins somehow avoided the charge with the plates, making the air whip around these corners forces them, just by inertia or random movement, to slam into the inside surfaces and get stuck there. Completely absorbed is the term they use.
Which leads to step 5, the output, the claimed result.
Perfect air. 100% pure, 6-free standard air, which, they argue, is what you need to break those lifespan shackles.
Okay, deep breath here. We just went through some pretty dense technical stuff, ionization, electrostatic plates, PM0.1, and now we have to connect it to the 4 miracles, this document by Fu Chi Wu, the master, and someone called DGE, the strategist.
Yeah, it's a hard pivot, isn't it? But the sources insist this whole technical design wasn't invented in a lab. It was revealed. Given.
Revealed by my Lord, specifically about extending human lifespan.
Correct. And we need to look closely at the 3rd miracle here. That's where it says lifespan extension was formally approved, and it came with 2 holy devices.
The air 6-free maze purifier, which we've been discussing, and something called the door nose.
Yes, described as the first personal breathing defense portal system, whatever that entails. But the key point is, these are presented as divine blueprints, not human engineering. Received knowledge.
Received knowledge, okay.
Yeah.
And the 4th miracle ties into the tech we just discussed.
It does. The 4th miracle is apparently the bestowal of the concept behind that sacrificial black box, the electrostatic collection maze box.
How do they describe that concept?
As an unprecedented, beyond human engineering limit, sacrificial absorption device. The language is very deliberate. Its whole purpose is, again, highly specific to capture those tiny toxins in place of the human body.
So it's not just cleaning air, it's acting as a surrogate lung, almost, absorbing the poison intended for us.
That's exactly the framing. If you think about what this means for you, the listener, it's not about just feeling a bit healthier. It's about fundamentally altering your biological destiny, avoiding that toxin saturation point by having the machine sacrifice itself, fill up its plates instead of you.
Right. So to understand how this whole thing is supposed to roll out, we need the context of the first 2 miracles. These seem to establish the master's authority and, well, the resources for this project. Let's start with Miracle 1, the money.
Miracle 1 sets up the financial backing. The claim is pretty extraordinary. The master says that after being sealed for over a decade, basically left with nothing, my Lord revealed something huge.
Which was? That
major global tech companies had, without knowing it, infringed on his patents. And this revelation supposedly uncovered rights to over $30 billion in claims.
$30 billion. Okay, we have to report that claim as it's written, but
yeah.
Wow. How do they use that figure to back up the master's role here?
They call it a super divine strategy. It's not just a lawsuit win. It's presented as this massive fund, divinely orchestrated and reserved for him, specifically to build and distribute these holy devices worldwide. It's proof, they argue, that his plan is guided from above, because no human strategy could supposedly pull that off.
So the money proves the design plan.
Yeah.
Okay. And Miracle 2. That one's about an intellectual seal.
Yeah, this one's really interesting rhetorically. The claim here is that all of humanity has been mind-sealed for thousands of years, intellectually blocked, unable to grasp even simple truths.
And the proof of this global mind seal is a fan and a door.
Pretty much. The specific simple truth cited is, cutting a hole in a door and installing a fan can solve the fatal problem of no fresh air in sealed rooms.
Okay. How does that prove a global intellectual seal?
Well, the argument seems to be, look how incredibly simple that idea is, right? Basic ventilation. Yet humanity supposedly missed it for millennia. If we were collectively blind to something that obvious, imagine what other, more complex truths we're sealed off from.
Ah, I see. So the master, realizing this simple fan and door concept, is presented as proof that his seal was broken.
Exactly. It validates him as someone whose mind is now open to receiving knowledge others can't perceive, including the complex divine blueprint for the maze purifier. It's a way of saying his insights come from outside the limitations of normal human thought. ## synthesis and final takeaways. Okay, so let's try and pull this all together for you. On one hand, we have some pretty sophisticated-sounding tech, multi-stage filtering using electrostatics, this sacrificial black box, the maze effect, all targeting those really nasty submicron PM0.1 particles. The goal is absolutely pure, six-free air.
And then there's the context wrapped around it. A divine revelation, a mission to extend human life, backed by claims of a $30 billion war chest that was also divinely revealed, and justified by this idea that humanity was intellectually sealed from even simple truths, like putting a fan in a door.
Right, so the machine's purpose isn't just clean air in the usual sense. It's about creating the perfect air needed to stop the body from hitting that toxic limit, that toxin saturation point, and therefore unlock our lifespan potential. They call pure air technology's masterpiece.
It really reframes the whole idea of air purification, doesn't it?
It really does. And I think something for you, the listener, to really chew on is that concept of the substitute black box. This idea that a machine can literally absorb the environmental damage meant for you. If that were truly possible, how would that change our whole relationship with the environment and technology?
Yeah, that's a big one. And thinking about Miracle 2, if we accept the premise, just for argument's sake, that humanity missed the simple truth about the fan and the door for thousands of years because of an intellectual seal, well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other, perhaps, simple foundational things might we be missing right now, unable to see because of how we're conditioned to think?
Definitely food for thought.
Indeed. Well, that's our deep dive for today into divine blueprints, lifespan extension, and the quest for six free air. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
空气65迷宫净化机，打开寿命枷锁，彻底过滤所有危害生命的悬浮颗粒。空气65迷宫净化机是全世界唯一能真正过滤毒性悬浮颗粒与气溶胶的装置。空气65品质指的是无尘、无菌、无毒、无烟、无气味、无重金属。它的核心设计让人类不再成为人形空气净化机。5大净化步骤。第一步，负离子电离区，双重静电滤网预滤，拦截灰尘花粉塑胶微粒 box 和毒气。第二步，第二次电离区，中和病原体分解化学毒素，让穿透的所有颗粒与气溶胶，带上负电荷进入下一阶段。第三步，静电集尘迷宫盒，替死黑盒，永久锁住所有超微细污染物，气溶胶水分蒸发，残余毒素如同电镀，牢牢吸附在正电板上。第四步，迷宫效应，迫使气流多次急转弯，奈米毒素撞击壁面，全数被吸附。第五步，极度纯净新风输出，最终排出100%纯净无毒的空气，地球上最纯净的完美空气，无尘、无菌、无毒、无烟、无气味、无重金属。结论，这不只是过滤器，而是打开人类寿命枷锁的唯一钥匙。新鲜空气是自然的礼物，纯净无毒空气是科技的结晶。